Okay, you guys, you are here with the skincare badass, and today we're gonna talk about my personal skincare routine. I'm a little excited, a little nervous to tell you the truth, but let's get into it. Okay guys, so I am super excited and like I said, a little nervous to talk to you about my personal skincare routine. This is from somebody who has been in skincare for over 20 years. You do not wanna miss this one. I'm gonna give you all the deets. Hit subscribe below and let's dive in. So I wash my face twice a day, every single day. Not gonna lie, there's been a few times I've missed in the evening, drank too much wine. It's awful, I know. I preach to my clients all the time not to do that. It's really, really, really not good. It's the worst when you actually have like makeup on your face, so that's like the worst. I typically only like don't wash my face at night, maybe once a month, maybe twice a month. And that's typically if I didn't wear makeup either, if it's like a Sunday and I'm super lazy. So what do I do as an esthetician to keep my skin looking its best? I don't know if my videographer is gonna include this or not, but my skin's kind of flaky today because I just did a really aggressive peel last week. So I'm kind of on the tail end of the flakiness. So Jesse, feel free to leave all the yuckiness in for this one today, okay? So you always wanna double cleanse every single night. I don't deal with the makeup wipes or like the makeup scrubber things. It's bullshit. Wash your face twice. So we actually did another video that talks deep about why to wash your face twice and like how to check with the white washcloth and all that stuff. So I'll spare you my long drawn out story from that. But I do use a white washcloth every single night because it shows me what is still on there. So I'm gonna go in and do my initial cleanse. I like to use an oil sometimes based on the time of the year that it is. Based on how my skin is feeling. If I'm kind of dry, if it's winter time, I'll actually use what's called facial nectar from Sorella Apothecary. Oh my God, it's like an apricot oil and a safflower oil. It's got vitamin E, hyaluronic acid. It's just this really beautiful oil. And I'll use that to work into my skin. It'll go right over my eyeshadow, my eyeliner, mascara. It doesn't hurt my eyes. It's like thick and soluble. So it just feels really, really good on the skin. And then I'll just rinse that off. And then I go right in for my actual cleanse. So again, I'll use that washcloth to see if I actually remove all my makeup. Then I always do my spritz. I love me a good hydration spray. So I have a couple different ones that I go between. I use two from Sorella Apothecary. I use their Spice Wine Toner, which has a little bit of salicylic acid in it to help constrict my pores and help to regulate oil production if it's that time of the year and I'm feeling oily. I also use their Watermelon Hydrating Mist. My husband calls it Sandia Splash. He's white. I don't know why he always has like some weird accent when he does it, but he does. And so when I'm feeling dry, like when I'm doing chemical peels, I use Watermelon Mist or Sandia Splash. So then after that, I immediately go into my eye cream. So you always want to use your eye cream with your ring finger, always, no matter what. This has the least amount of pressure. And so you want to make sure that you are just dabbing, and I go all the way in. I use eye creams that are safe to go all the way in. There are some eye creams that are really active, so you don't want to go all the way up because it can create irritation on your eyelids. I don't use those personally. I use peptide-based ones that are thick and creamy and luxurious and help keep this under eye tissue really thick and strong. So with that being said, you always want to use your eye cream before you go into your serums. Your serums are going to be more active than anything, and you want to create like a little protection type barrier around that eye tissue, right? This area is gonna be more thin and frail no matter what you do, always. So it's always best to protect that, create like that barrier before you start using your actives. So let's talk about my nighttime routine, because you're gonna do the same thing morning and night. Morning, you're not gonna have to remove your makeup. You're just gonna do your cleanse, your spritz, eye cream, and then you go into like your vitamin C and all that, right? Let's talk about nighttime for a second. I like to use a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I love skincare. I love to get into all the things. So some people like to keep it really simple, and that's fine. Do what's best for your lifestyle and your budget, right? My lifestyle is I have one 6th grader at home and I have another one in college. I don't have a lot of people like in and out all over, so I have more time at night to do what I need. I don't have 5 kids running around needing everything from me. I do have a lot of women that come into the spa and they need super simple multitasking. I don't need it. I like all the steps. So I will go in with my Active Serum from isClinical. And so that has botanical derivative of salicylic acid, glycolic acid, and retinol. So it's gonna help with cellular turnover. So I use that. And then some days I go in with a retinol and lactic resurfacing serum as well from my own personal brand. No, that's not too much for me. It would be too much for other people, but not too much for me. And then I like to go in with either Brightening Complex from isClinical, which has an 18% salicylic acid. People always look at me like I'm crazy when I say that. They're like, what? I'm going with that too. I'm like, yes, I love it. It's got arbutin, lots of brightening agents. I'm always using something to brighten my skin at all times. You remember the old commercial? It was like a Colgate or Crest commercial, and it was like, if you're not whitening, you're yellowing. I don't know if you remember that, but they had that commercial. So I think the same thing about your skin. If you're not trying to always lighten everything, then you're darkening, right? Darkening, different pigmentation means damage and means you're older, and I don't like it, so I'm always trying to lighten. So then I'll use that, and then I'll go in with a moisturizer. Sometimes I have a prescription that I do that's got some hydroquinone, retinoic acid, kojic acid, azelaic, so lots and lots of lighteners with a little bit of that retinoic acid to help with cellular turnover. I don't do that a lot. I typically do that when I'm trying to prep my skin for laser treatments, chemical peels, microneedling to really suppress melanocyte activity to give me the best benefits for the deep aggressive treatment I'm about to get. So cleanser, spritz, eye cream, active, retinol, brightening, moisturizer. So 7 steps. Sometimes it's like 3 or 4. For the most part, it's usually between like 6 and 8 steps. So that is my evening routine. Let's go to the daytime routine. So cleanse, spritz, eye cream. I typically use a vitamin C and then just a moisturizer. I keep it pretty simple for the morning. I'll add some hyaluronic acid in there too if I need to. I love Main Squeeze from Sorella Apothecary. It is the best damn hyaluronic acid serum on the planet, bar none. You can argue with me and you'd be wrong. I've used a lot of them. It's freaking fantastic. Love it. And yeah, and then I always wear sunscreen. I either do isClinical SPF 40, which I really love. I only use physical block only. I talked about physical block versus chemical sunscreen in another segment. So if you guys have not seen that yet, please, please, please check it out. It will be one of the most important segments you will ever hear from me, ever. So I use my SPF 40 from isClinical, or I use Color Science that I'm obsessed with. And we have a whole other segment on that is like, it's the best freaking sunscreen on the world. It's gonna give you pigmentation. It helps to even out color. It blooms to match your skin's own tone. It's freaking phenomenal. It flies off the shelves at my med spa. Love it. So my skincare routine in the evening takes me less than 5 minutes. And the morning it takes probably 2 minutes. So let me say this, 5 minutes after I cleanse. So, because I spend a good 2 minutes cleansing. I really work it in. I make sure I have a really deep clean, because if you don't have a deep enough clean, then all these really fancy, expensive, high quality ingredients that I'm using afterwards are not made to penetrate through oil and makeup. They are made to be used on really clean skin. So that's why I take the most time with the deep clean on my skin. And then after that, like you put your serum on. Oh, another thing I want to tell you guys real quick. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but I could talk about my routine forever. You see all these like TikTok videos and Instagram ads of people putting the dropper on their skin, and it's so beautiful. You should not put the dropper on your skin. You should get it really close. So the dropper always comes about this far away from my skin. And I just do 1 to 2 drops, work in, 1 to 2 drops, work in. And I let it sit in for about 30 seconds, then I go to the next one. Depending on the type of serums that you have and the consistency, some people really should wait like 1 to 2 minutes in between each layer. Mine are fast absorbing, so I don't have to worry about that. If it was still wet on my skin, I would wait. I usually recommend to my clients that after you apply your serum to brush your teeth and then apply your moisturizer, just so you have enough time in between each layer for it to penetrate fully and work effectively. I typically don't do that because I'll sit there and I kind of like play around. Maybe I'll look at my eyebrows or something, for a minute. But I always make sure that whatever I just applied is all the way absorbed before I apply my next one. Super duper important. Yeah, and then I always use a lip hydrator. I didn't talk about that. I use a lip hydrator every single morning, every single night. It's really, really, really important to take care of the skin on your lips. I have big lips naturally, so it's been really tough for me to find a good lip hydrator. So yeah, I've got my long drawn out routine at night, and then I've got my pretty simple one in the morning. Sunscreen is most important. And then we'll do a whole other segment on what I do like weekly and monthly, because that's a lot to get into. Weekly, you gotta be doing scrubs and masks and all that stuff. And monthly, you gotta do the aggressive stuff. You gotta do microneedling, you gotta do peels, you gotta do facials, everything else. So stay tuned and more to come.